Good morning, everyone. It was a post on the forum at goingyourownway.com written by a user named Frank that got me thinking about this topic. Here is what Frank has to say about the topic, and after it, I will let you know what I have to think about it. These women must be getting desperate if they're looking at me. I was unshaven and wore a bomber jacket that was at least 20 years old with jeans and a t-shirt. I literally resemble the person standing on the corner of the street holding up the sign that says, "I'm homeless, any donations will help." I recently went to the store, and while I was there, I was given strange looks by two different women. Both of these women appear to be post-wall in their mid to late 30s, but they are above average in looks. Although I am pushing 60 years old, I can still pass for younger. Anyway, I am aware that having them in my life would be hell on earth, thus I have absolutely no interest in the younger men. Even if they haven't lost their looks, women can get resentful when they reach a certain age. They are old enough to know all the tricks and to get their hands on your resources. It will make your life a living hell. Then, get this. I check out with the cashier and she asks me if I have any plans for the day. I put her in her mid-20s, probably a 5 or a 6 if she dolled herself up, so I take it as simply being nice, or the manager tells employees to be nice for the business, so anyways by answer. "Just work you," she says. Nothing, and that she's free later on in the day. My deduction is that they must have noticed my car because I park it in front of the store next to the main window, and they must have thought it was a great automobile because of that. Why, therefore, is this guy Frank getting attention despite the fact that he's 60 years old and dressed like a bomb? In Canada, we are currently seeing an inflation rate of 6.7% year over year. It's 8.5% in the United States, which means that if the girl in the store is only getting a 2 raise over the last year, which is more than generous, she's seeing a 6.5% pay cut. However, since we all know that inflation is significantly higher than that, she's probably getting a pay cut of 10 or more. The current rate of inflation is almost certainly the greatest it has been since January of 1991. I believe that we are either currently in a recession or are about to enter one due to the inflation that occurred back then. People are getting anxious and overreacting by buying stocks to protect themselves against inflation, since the story of inflation is being pushed relentlessly by mainstream media outlets, which can be found virtually everywhere. Recently, it has been items like oil. In other commodities, everyone assumes that inflation will keep continuing for years and years, but no one is asking how long it will endure in a realistic manner. If you take a look at the Baltic Dry Index, for example, you'll see that it's currently around 2,100, but it reached its all-time high of 5,500 in September of last year. Before being able to order replacement items to reload the shelves at lower rates, businesses are required to first sell the inventory they bought previously at higher prices and then do so at a profit. As a result of the rising interest rates, many people are becoming increasingly anxious. Back in 2020, Tiff Macklin, the chief central banker in Canada, predicted that interest rates wouldn't be going up until the end of 2023 or 2024. However, he lied about this prediction, and now mortgage rates are rising in both Canada and the United States. In my opinion, bankers pose a greater threat to your financial well-being than women do. It is necessary for the elites to always sell you a tale that you believe in so that you would do what they want you to do, which is to act in a way that causes you to become more impoverished. At the beginning of the year 2020, they spread the coveted narrative in the hopes of convincing you to sell all of your assets in order to protect yourself from deflation. This was done even though, in the background, they were firing up the money printing machines, which were going to cause inflation. They made the mainstream media their spokesperson in order to do this. It is therefore much more difficult to deceive people into buying and selling stocks and other investments at the wrong periods if those people do not listen to the mainstream media, in order for the elites to be able to purchase them up at the appropriate periods. As a result, the narrative that is currently circulating is one of wild runaway inflation, and the majority of guys, including Franks, are buying into it. Keep in mind that purchasing and selling financial assets is not an option for wealthy individuals. There is nothing more to it than the dispersal and accumulation of them. They are either purchasing additional assets at a time when the values are falling or selling their existing assets when the prices are rising. If any of you guys follow George Gammon, he has a prediction that we're going to get to negative interest rates soon because the options market is flashing negative interest rates, which means that all markets will explode upwards if they cut interest rates because we go into a recession because they're raising the interest rates right now, and the financial markets usually signal the future 6 to 12 months ahead of time, so if you wait for something to happen and then react to it impatiently, you might miss out on some opportunities as people struggle to make ends meet. Affluent individuals will be buying up assets. The big bets are being made in the very near future that the Fed will take interest rates negative, which is a big flashing recession indicator. The moment they start lowering interest rates, the value of technology stocks will explode because these are the stocks that are most sensitive to changes in interest rates. Sadly, the majority of people won't have any money left at that point, so they won't be able to back the truck up. My guess is that we are going to enter a phase of economic contraction in which people have less money in their pockets, but are able to purchase an increasing number of goods with the money they do have. We are about to enter a new era in which people will have significantly more cash on hand than they have at the moment. Because to things like sweaty checks, however, that will actually buy you less and less over time. The question, therefore, is why is this topic being discussed in online financial circles? They want people to click and look at their content, and they want to convince them that prices are about to begin decreasing, and that this will be an excellent time to make purchases of cheap assets. In the long run, this won't actually attract that much notice. The majority of people would rather trust what everyone else is saying and be proven incorrect than believe what a couple of strange folks out in the woods are saying and risk discovering that they are correct. I could be wrong, and we could be headed for stagflation similar to what occurred in the 1970s instead, but I don't see how you could reduce the amount of money in circulation by raising interest rates and making borrowing impossible. Debt is money, and raising interest rates is not going to have a negative effect on the economy. I'm guessing that in order to put the brakes on the economy as well as inflation, the Federal Reserve will not need to reduce interest rates to 5 or 10%. Instead, they should focus on reducing inflation because of the upcoming midterm elections. They are expecting that it would have a significant enough impact on consumer spending habits to cause individuals to cut back on their spending, which would then result in an excess of goods and services in the economy, which would then lead to deflation as a means of restoring economic equilibrium. The recent inflation that you have been experiencing is a result of the Federal Reserve's willingness to throw the upper and middle classes under the bus in order to reduce the cost of living for the poor, as well as women and immigrants who vote for the left. People with incomes similar to Frank's ought to be financially punished, and female cashiers and sales associates ought to be paid more. Yes, income inequality is an issue because it destabilizes society, but the Democrats in power don't want everyone to get rich together, so they launch class conflict and divide society. If I'm correct, when nominal interest rates go negative, you'll want to own Bitcoin in addition to tech stocks. This is due to the fact that large tech companies and cryptocurrencies have been correlated as of late. I'm not sure if that'll continue, but if it does and you have investments in those two things, you'll be very happy if it does. Some people have been asking me if Netflix was a good purchase a few months ago, and I said no way, Jose, and I was right as it dropped 25 in one day recently. Some people have been asking me if you should invest in those two things. The issue is that there is an excessive amount of competition from other streaming services, and on top of that, if you do not invest in technology companies that are monopolies, you are going to end up being a loser. So, what have I been doing to make money in recent times? I'm going to buy Amazon or Apple when it drops 2 or 3%, then wait for the price to go up the next day by merely 1%, and then sell the shares into a price that is increasing. I repeat this process again and over again, and the returns on my money range anywhere from 10 to 20% each and every single month. It comes out to somewhere between $200 and $300 for each trading day. If I buy those things and the price goes down, it's not a big deal. I just wait it out until the price recovers, and in the meantime, I use other capital to continue trading. I hold items from companies such as Apple, Google, and Microsoft. When it comes to buying stocks on a technical basis, if you are going to play the game of catch a falling knife, then you actually want to own things that are monopolies and will most likely recover in price. Buy and hold investing is no longer viable in the technology sector and hasn't been for at least 6 months. Yet it appears to be alive and well in value stocks. The question is, for how much longer? I really have no idea. I have already parted with the most of my dividend and value equities, but will buy more if they go on sale. I've also been dollar cost averaging into things like PayPal, Facebook, Shopify, and Match Group in preparation for the possibility of a recession and a subsequent return of money to large technology companies. After I have achieved a profit from that position, I will often sell it and then either engage in swim trading or simply dollar cost average into something else using the proceeds from the sale. I am still not in the black with those 4 equities, but I have made a profit on the roughly 40 other stocks that I was buying and selling. When it comes to women, the effects of inflation have forced them to take a hard look at their ways of life. A woman in her 20s is likely to be interested in men in their 30s, 40s, and even their 50s, as long as those men have money, because the current economic climate has caused them to lower their expectations regarding men and cause them to respond to it by lowering those expectations. As men their own age have no hope in hell of buying a house at current prices, unless rising interest rates crash the housing markets. But then most guys won't be able to qualify for a mortgage at that point, so either way you lose financially. As men their own age have no hope in hell of buying a house at current prices, because of the stairs in the bank. I'm also of the opinion that big tech censorship is likely to get a lot worse in the future as the audience for mainstream media continues to dwindle and the majority of investors begin seeking online to find finance personalities like Anthony Pompliano and George Gammon. It is possible that they may start banning business commentators in order to follow their recommendations because these experts are interfering with their ability to control the markets. They might claim that you need a license to be a financial advisor or something similar, but on the other hand, maybe not. This is because many of those involved in online business feel compelled to talk about topics such as inflation right now because doing so generates more views for their content. They are looking for clicks, and as long as the Wall Street narrative continues to get them clicks, they will continue to pursue it. They will discuss economic concerns that will ultimately be detrimental to their audience from a financial standpoint. Take, for instance, if I had stated in the title that women's desperation is being caused by deflation and non-inflation, far less people would have been interested in reading it. Therefore, I am in some way complicit in the situation as well. Food prices will continue to rise because farmers paid a lot for fertilizer and they need to at least break even, so food prices will keep rising for another year unless the Fed crashes the economy in a really big hurry. Food prices will continue to rise because farmers paid a lot for fertilizer and they need to at least break even. Women, on the other hand, typically have little interest in topics such as these. Add to the fact that more and more men are going their own way than ever before the fact that women, as they age, want nothing more than a man to care about these types of things for them. In the years to come, it wouldn't shock me to see an increase in the average age gap between married couples. It also wouldn't surprise me if younger women went out there to find males with elderly sick parents who will leave on a significant amount of inheritance to their sons and started seeking those men as a potential partner. Anyways, that wraps up my thoughts for the day. Thank you for taking your daily dose of red pills, and please keep in mind that a red pill a day keeps the women who just want your money because they don't have any better options than you away. With that in mind, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I raise a glass to you.